me again. Today, we are going to be doing something fun. I think it should be fun. We are going to be painting shells. Now you'd be like, what? I had a few shells laying around, and I had one shell that was in my little thing of things I don't have enough things to put in a video. I don't know if that made sense. But I finally collected some more shells to paint for an idilla. So let's get to it.
Hi. Like I said, we are going to be painting shells today. We are going to be painting 4 shells that I have selected of different shapes and sizes and blemishes. Let's take away the shells that I will not be painting first.
Nah, but I wanted to be painted first.
No.
Well, the shells are talking to me now. That's great. Moving on to the shell with the big gaping hole in the middle of it, I started to work on this. I had come up with a design, which you got a sneak peek of, because I wanted to take the hole to my advantage to use it as a hole in the shell. So I came up with a design that took the hole to my advantage. But we need to revive my paint and make the orange the color that I need it to be. After reviving my paint, I began to paint the shell a plain yellow as a base color for the art that is going to be painted upon this shell. It took me a while to figure out what I was going to paint on this shell. After painting the entire base yellow, I decided it was a little too bright for me, so I made the yellow a little bit lighter and I painted it again to get the color that I want.
Stop, please! I don't have a battery for you!
I sketched in the honeycomb with a white gel pen and began painting in each of the hexagons orange because my idea was to have the hole as like the beehive entrance and the shell itself is a beehive. So that's how I took the hole to my advantage, and I began the long, tedious process of painting in each of the individual hexagons. It was the worst. I absolutely hated it with everything. It took me like an hour to paint and shade in all of these stupid hexagons. Since it was unbearable for me, I'm gonna make it so it's not unbearable for you. Where's the skip button? After outlining each hexagon with the orange, I then shaded in all the hexagons with the yellow and the orange and made it all pretty and nice looking. And like I said, this took forever, but eventually I was done with the shading and the bulk part of this shell. After doing all of the annoying shading, it looked a little messy and not as crisp and clean as I wanted it to be. So I then took my metallic paint markers and took the orange and began to outline each of the hexagons. I couldn't remember what it was for a second. I don't remember why I made it zoom in when I was doing this. I don't know why. What is the purpose? After outlining all of it, I did some stippling shading inside of each honeycomb hexagon because I thought something was missing and it needed a little bit more something to it. So after I finished all of that up, it looked so much better and I loved it a lot more. Put my signature on it and there you go. Here's the finished shell. I love this one a lot. It's one of my favorites of today's video. It's really cute and I like it. Well, that entrance wasn't very good. I began to paint this shell rainbow for my idea. Don't ask me why, I just thought it would be nice, so there you have it. Yay, shell's all done. Just kidding. This shell kind of looked like the shape of a heart with the chip on the top, so I don't know what that had to do with anything with my design, but I don't know. But I went with a blended rainbow going down the shell, which was kind of difficult because the shell was kind of small, so it was difficult to get in the blue and the purple blendiness at the bottom of the shell. But it still looks like it's rainbow, you can still see all the colors, so that is a plus. After I painted the rainbow, I grabbed my silver metallic marker and began to make scales on the shell. At first, I was thinking of fish scales, but then after I was done with it, I kind of realized that it looked like mermaid scales, and that's what everybody was going to think that it was, so I was like, well, it's not what I meant to do, but that's okay. After finishing the scales, it wasn't popping enough for me, so I added some darker scales around the shell to help it pop a little bit more with the other little details. I then grabbed a blue pen and wrote my signature on it, and this is how the finished shell turned out. This one's probably one of my least favorites because the scales are kind of gross looking. Moving on to my next victim of my madness is the bigger, weird, the more shelly shell. And I grabbed my pink again and I began painting a rainbow on it, a side rainbow, except it's not blended this time because I didn't want it to be blended. I wanted it to be straight rainbow bands. I began then painting the orange stripe. I need to figure out a name for the stripes of a rainbow so I can describe it better. But I continue to move on through the rainbow with each of the colors. It was a little difficult because this shell had a lot of grooves in it, wavy grooves, so it was a little difficult to get in all of the little crevices of the shell. Finishing up the rainbow, I then wanted to add something else to the shell. I didn't want it to just be straight rainbow, but just look at it now, because that's the last time you'll see it, because I regret every decision after painting the shell rainbow. Just warning you. So let's take a long, nice look at the beautiful rainbow that this shell is. It's so beautiful and pretty and gorgeous until I destroy it.
I don't really have anything else to say.
Alright. I might be a little hard on myself, but I really don't like the way adding the darkness onto this shell turned out.
This was the design that I did on my football, but this actually was the original idea. But I just copied it for my football before I filmed this video. And the shell was actually the first to live before the football, because this actually was the design for the football that I used for the football, but it was...
Alright. Stop the rambling and get to talking about the shell. Alright, so I said alright too many times. I started to outline the dark gray with the black like I did with the football, because that was my idea. Stop talking about the football. But I did that, and I took my dotting tool and started to outline it with the dotting tool, and why don't I try harder to not ramble and stay focused? Why don't I focus on that, not rambling? And I am continuing to ramble about me rambling. Alright, back to the shell, because it's done. Can you see why I don't like it? It's really lumpy and messy and I don't like it. Moving on to the last one. The little baby, so cute. I began painting the shell pink, and no, I am not doing rainbow for this shell because I've already done 2 shells like that. Thank you.
No! Dang it.
This shell is extremely small that I dropped it multiple times, but somehow only have 1 time of me dropping it on camera. But I grabbed my metallic brown marker and began to color in a little drip design on the shell. This shell is so cute, it's so simple, and I added sprinkles on the little dip part, and it's super cute. This shell is probably my favorite out of all 4 of the shells that I painted today. This one is so cute, so simple, and this is how it turned out. That is all for today. I hope you enjoyed and have a fantabulous rest of your day. Bye!